Hi, I'm Claudia St. Your HR partner and resource. We're here today to talk about interviews. So a lot of folks do interviews. If you're hiring somebody, you know you've got to interview them. It was interesting. I was out visiting a client and they were hiring a new HR director. And because I was there, they included me in on their hiring process. Normally, each one of the senior leadership team members would have interviewed that director privately, and then they would have gotten together as a senior leadership team and debated or discussed what they thought about the candidates that they had seen. Because we were short on time and I encouraged them, we all did it together. There were 5 of us in the interview. And we all got to sit there and listen to all of the questions that were being asked and observe the candidates, how they responded, how comfortable they were when they were answering their questions, observe their bodies, which, 55% of communication comes from body language. So having that panel interview gave us all the opportunity to sit back, really observe, and really participate in the process, as opposed to feeling the pressure of asking the next question or, oh shoot, I didn't ask the right question. It also gave everybody the opportunity to ask the same questions of all the candidates, and that meant that we were able to compare apples to apples. So at the end of the day, we didn't have to go back and debate, I thought she was great, I thought she was horrible, because those are all subjective, and if you weren't all witnessing the same phenomenon, there's really no way to tell whose perspective is correct. But if you do a panel interview, you're all witnessing the same thing. You can all ask the same questions of each of your candidates. It's just a much more effective and time-effective use of your time. The one thing I would strongly suggest you do is Google prohibited interview questions before you get into that interview room. Especially if you have somebody who's maybe not experienced and doesn't know the legal landmines that can exist when you are in an interview with a candidate. So make sure that you know what you can and cannot say. Most of the things that you cannot say, you can ask in a different way. So for example, you're not allowed to ask somebody if they own their own car. You're not allowed to ask them, where they live. Although you probably should have gotten their address when you were interviewing them or when they filled out the employment application. But you can ask them if they have access to reliable transportation. You can tell them, these are our work hours. Will you have any difficulty given traffic or anything to be here on time and to comply with our work hours? So there are other ways of asking questions that are not discriminatory and that are perfectly acceptable. So I strongly encourage that you Google those. So do the panel interviews and do those research those prohibitive interview questions. And the next session that we have, we're going to talk about behavioral testing. So that's it from us at Affinity HR Group. We're here if you need us. Just reply to this if you have any suggestions or questions for future comments. And we hope that you have a productive and safe work week. Take care.